Be reviewing some fourth grade basic skills that everybody needs to know. To start off with, a poem, story, or drama can be summarized. To write a summary, you retell the main points: who, what, when, where, how, or why. So you might think of a hand, and when you read something, you'll back through each of those points to summarize. Again, that's called a summary. So let's see if you've reread that. Let's see if you can remember what the word is. A poem, story, or drama can be blank when you retell the main points. When we retell a story, we want to think about the main idea. The main idea is what a story is mostly about. Here's some examples on the right side of the poster. Amanda always wanted the same things May had. So that's a story about a girl wanting the same things her friend had. Or maybe it's a story about even though Tim was afraid of heights, he still went to the top of the ropes course. Okay? This is what a story is mostly about. That's called the main idea. Now, going back to Amanda, always wanting the same things, there's a life lesson or a message of that story. We call that the theme. See how you can kind of see the word message in there? M-E. Think of message. So that might be a theme of jealousy. Or Tim, who was afraid of heights, that theme might be bravery. Okay, so again, main idea is what a story is mostly about. If you're telling a life lesson of a story, what do we call that? If you said theme, you are correct. That is the theme. If you are telling what a story is mostly about, basically retelling it, what do you call that? You said main idea, you are correct. You need to know the difference between theme and main idea. If you do not, stop, pause, and reread this poster. Again, the blank of a story is a life lesson or moral of a story. What goes in the blank there? If you said theme, you are correct. It's the message or lesson that the author wants you to learn from a story. Some common topics for themes or the big ideas might be courage. Think about the books we've read, like Wonder or Out of My Mind. You can talk about a theme of courage, but you would have to give supporting details. So you would ask yourself, what did the characters learn? How did the characters grow or change? And why did the characters act this way? Then, in your written response, you would have to say, I know the theme is blank because the text says this. So let's review. Let's say you are asked to give the theme of a story. What should you do? Do you just say the theme is blank? Or do you, if you said, I give details from the story, I talk about how the character changed, what did the character learn from his or her experiences, you are correct. When you read a story, you want to be able to describe a character in depth. Great way to do that is to look at how a character changed. So in the beginning of a story, a character might be a certain way. Then something happens in the middle of a story. At the end of the story, they've changed. So if you have to talk about how a character is, and you have to go into details, talk about how they are in the beginning, middle, and end. You also want to look around at the other people in the story and see how they affected a character. So again, let's review. Let's say you want to talk about how you want to describe a character. What should you do? If you said, talk about how the character changed in the beginning, middle, and end, you are correct. Next one, how do you describe the setting of a story, or a drama, or a poem? We want to tell, first of all, what time it happened. So we're not just talking time on a clock. We might be talking a season, spring, summer, winter, or fall. We might be talking about a special holiday. All of those could affect a story and the plot. And we want to talk about where it happens. Does it happen on a farm? Does it happen in the city? Does it happen outside, indoors? All of those can cause an effect upon the story. So again, how do you describe the setting of a story? If you said when and where the story takes place, you are correct. Or it could be a drama. Dramas have settings. A poem could have a setting. Let's look at the difference between poems, drama, and prose. Okay, prose is like a story. It's got a basic paragraph, shares an idea about a topic. Okay, each paragraph will identify an idea. It will explain things, focuses on content and structure. That's what you would see in paragraphs. Drama, okay, that's like a play, would have acts and scenes. And poems are written in stanzas, not paragraphs. Again, see if you know the difference between poems, drama, and prose. Next one. Poems, as we've seen, could have rhyming words. Night, light, air, there, cat, hat. Or they might just be written in free verse, not following a specific rhyme scheme. Poems could also be written in rhythm, kind of like the beat of a song, and we can measure that with what we call meter. Now, drama is a little bit different. Drama is when two characters are talking. Di means two. We call that the dialogue. The beginning of a drama or play, you'll have a cast of characters. Who's going to be performing or speaking. And then they give stage directions. Okay, in prose, you would basically have sentences with a plot. You would be describing something. You might talk about the plot as somebody wanting something, but something happened, so this happened. Okay? The next thing you need to be aware of is what we call point of view. Okay, some things are told in first person. If you're speaking in first person, it would be I. So for example, in the book Wonder, if August is speaking and he is saying things like, I had a difficult time with my friends at lunch. Then my mom came home. So he is the speaker and we're using the word I. That's called first person. If somebody else is retelling or talking about a story, or you're describing something else, that's called third person. So again, first person is when, if you said using I, you are correct. And third person is when somebody else is speaking about something. Next thing you need to know is a text structure. So nonfiction text, things like science books, books about history, those could be organized where you compare and contrast. Compare is when you're talking about similar things. If it's a Venn diagram, it falls in the middle. And contrasting are different things, things that would be on the outside. So here I can compare an orange and an apple. Both of them are fruit. I'm comparing them, similar things. Both of them are grown. On the outside are the contrasting things. Oranges are tropical. Okay? They have a thick peel. An apple has a thin peel. So when you compare, you show how things are. If you said similar, you're correct. You might use words like both or alike. When you contrast, you show how things are different. If it's a Venn diagram, the different things would go where? If you said on the outsides of the circles, you are correct, and the similar things go on the inside. Let's talk about main idea. The main idea of a text tells what a passage or text is mostly alike. Check out this cartoon. The red bird is saying, the main idea of a passage is what the story is mostly about. So if you look at clues, you're going to ask yourself, what is this selection mostly about? So we look at the title. That might give you a clue. A lot of fourth graders forget to look at the title. Look at the pictures. They might be giving you a clue what the main idea is. Sometimes the main idea is in the first or last sentence. And lastly, look for clue words that are used repeatedly. If you see it throughout the passage, that would be a great clue that it's the main idea. So again, how are you going to find the main idea? Think about the three things. Another text structure is chronology. If you're describing a passage and using chronology, you'll most likely use words like first, then, next, maybe a year, 2015, or talk about a season, last winter. Very often you can sketch out chronology using things like a timeline. So what happened first, next. You can organize those things in chronological or time order. It comes from the Greek word chronos. So if you're reading something and you catch on that it's chronological, take advantage of those clues.